In 1891, the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad named the town after surveyor Edward Gillette as a thank you for excellent leadership and work. The town sprouted from a few small buildings located on Main Street and branched out to what it is today. After many ups and downs, Downtown Gillette was revitalized in 2014, which brought the development of the 3rd Street Plaza, improvements on infrastructure, and beautification efforts. In the past 7 years, the Gillette Main Street organization has promoted and fundraised for the downtown area to get the word out about small businesses, cultivating community growth at its heart. We sit down with Gillette Main Street Executive Director Jessica Seders, who talks about how the organization got started, how the downtown area enriches the lives of the community, and where it's heading. We also take a look back in the history of Downtown Gillette with Historical Society member Mary Kelly and Rockpile Museum Director Robert Henning. So get ready, because we're taking a journey through time and the story of Downtown Gillette on this episode of Explore 17.
I'm Jessica Seders, Executive Director of Gillette Main Street and Campbell County Convention and Visitors Bureau. Gillette Main Street is a 501c3 private nonprofit organization, and we work on basically economic development and historic preservation of downtown Gillette. So originally, it was made up of a group of concerned citizens that started a couple different organizations, one being Historic Gillette Alive. They're the ones that really got it going, and I think really their mission was just to support the downtown businesses and to make sure that the community was aware of the downtown as town began to sprawl different directions throughout the community. And now it's a actual certified Main Street program that's part of the National Main Street organization. And we do many of the same functions that original group did. We just have, thankfully, a much larger board of directors and volunteer base. I believe that the Gillette Main Street organization is going to continue to grow and prosper. And you definitely see that with the low vacancy rates downtown. More and more, even younger people are looking to relocate their businesses in downtown Gillette. So Gillette Main Street organization, the reason I believe that they really pulled that together was during the construction of Gillette Avenue back in 2014. They needed a way for the city to be able to communicate with the merchants and make sure that they understood, the next steps for reconstruction, and then also so that they could help market downtown to the locals when the front doors of many of those businesses were closed. That's really, I think, where the original idea came from for an actual organization. And then from there, it has just really taken on a life of its own because of all the volunteers and the amount of time and commitment that our volunteers and downtown business owners even and property owners put into the organization. It really is a grassroots driven. It takes all of the volunteers and the community that comes together to support Main Street because they understand the importance. It's not just the health of your downtown, it's the health of your overall community. We have some really great events, and really that's what Gillette Main Street is most known for, is its community events. We are great party planners and we do throw great parties, but we really are so much more than events. But a few of the things I think that most people are aware of as far as Gillette Main Street events are the Brews and Cruise, which was originally our Brew Fest. That was the very first event that Main Street ever held as a fundraiser. So downtown events are so important. That's what brings people. We're still amazed, and our business owners report the same thing, that they are so surprised by the people that come into their business and say, we had no idea you were here. So many times events may not bring sales to those businesses on that day of the event, but we have over 25,000 people that come to downtown Gillette throughout the year for all of our events and promotions. That's marketing for them. But it also provides a sense of community. We talk a lot about throughout the state and locally about trying to keep your young people here in your community or get them back here after they graduated from college. You have to have a place. And that's what Gillette Main Street is about, is providing a place, a sense of community. So you want a downtown that people want to spend time in, a considerable amount of time. We don't want them to come down and run into a shop and get what they need and then leave. We want them to spend time. We want you to shop and have, a meal and just enjoy it. So it takes a place that people want to be in. So So that's what we've really worked hard the last couple of years on, is the design and beautification aspect, but also a place that other organizations want to hold events. We have a great opportunity to continue to grow the 3rd Street Plaza. Fundraising for Gillette Main Street is exactly that. We don't have a constant revenue stream that funds Gillette Main Street. So we are 100% fundraised, and 90% of that is through private funds, and only 10% is through public. So the majority of everything we do is through fundraisers or donations or sponsorships of some sort. Friends of Gillette Main Street is a program that we started that allows not just our downtown merchants to support Gillette Main Street and its efforts, but also our community as a whole. In 2021, we had 88 Friends of Gillette Main Street join, and 63 of those were not from downtown. So that says a lot about what the community thinks about Gillette Main Street and its impact on the community as a whole. They understand that maybe they don't receive direct dollars from it, but probably chances are the businesses that sit on Gillette Avenue use their businesses too. So it's important that they keep those businesses downtown alive. Recruiting also. When organizations, businesses recruit people to Campbell County, they come downtown because that's how your community is judged, is by the health and vibrancy of your downtown. So it's important that it's welcoming, that it's clean, that it's attractive. And so that's a lot of our effort the last 2 years, and it will continue to be, how do we continue to make it a place people want to come? All of our events, we couldn't do any of them without the City of Gillette support, from shutting down our streets, cleaning our streets, making sure things are repaired quickly. We couldn't do it without them. Watering our flowers. I mean, people comment about how pretty the flowers are all the time. Well, that's sparks coming out watering every morning, even on the weekends. So, we have to say thank you to them, but also all of the sponsors, donors, and without our board and our volunteers, we just couldn't do it. So we have a board that typically can be anywhere between 9 to 11 members, and we do a vetting process with them just because it is a working board. And it's important they understand the amount of time that has to be committed to be on the board. So we actually have them work first on a planning committee for one of our events or promotions. They have to work through that to the completion of that event, and then see, are they still interested after they see how much work it is. But then there's also a time commitment as far as board meetings. We meet monthly, but they have to attend 75% of those meetings in order to continue to be a board member. They also have to agree to chair or co-chair at least one event and then serve on 2 events. So it is a large time commitment, but that also means those people that say yes really believe in the importance of downtown and Gillette Main Street. So it's important that they understand. So we're always looking for volunteers to help us. We have, like we talked about, the various large events that go on, but we also have committees that fall under what they call the 4 pillars. So we always look for public to help us on those as well. Design, that we've already talked about, but economic vitality, promotion, and organization. And all of the work that Gillette Main Street falls under one of those 4 pillars. So it's important we have input from our downtown businesses, but also our public too.
Since 2014, the Gillette Main Street program and downtown have had 31 businesses opened and 89 new jobs created. As Jessica mentioned, this enriches the lives of our community members and attracts visitors to enjoy Gillette. The program has real numbers to show just what it brings to the community. To put it in perspective, there have been 15,500 volunteer hours, which equates to a $371,000 investment in Gillette, making downtown Gillette a hub of opportunity.
My name is Mary Kelly. I am originally from Indianapolis, but I've lived here in Gillette for about 27 years. I am with the Campbell County Historical Society and also Gillette Historic Preservation Commission. The Montgomery Hotel and Bar is on the corner down here at 1st Street and Gillette Avenue. It was built in 1911 by the Daly brothers. Although Roy Montgomery managed the Montgomery, was a state senator. So he was a pretty important guy statewide. So Roy was the manager of the Montgomery Hotel. He was everything owner, even though it's named for him, and it's been the same name all of these years since 1911. Roy wanted to be our mayor, and he called out the person who was then the mayor, Mark Shields, and beat him up in the middle of Gillette Avenue. And Roy said, "Now I'm the mayor." And he moved the mayor's office into Montgomery. That was the first time Roy got to be the mayor, was when he beat up Mark. And then he went to jail, Leavenworth Penitentiary, for operating a brothel and bringing girls over state line for immoral purposes. And when he got out of jail, he came back here to Gillette. He was a rancher, he had lots of cattle, and he was elected mayor again. Just a few doors down from Big Lost Venue, where we are right now, is the Center Bar. And the Center has been there for quite a while. When it was first built, it was called the Elite Bar. But now, and for quite a long time, it's been the Center Bar. But they had a job jar back in the day. So gentlemen who needed some work could put their name in the job jar, and somebody from XYZ Ranch would come out and need 4 guys to help with haying or whatever, and he'd pull 4 names out, and those guys were milling around the Center Bar, probably enjoying a beverage or two, and he would take those guys with him in his truck and take them back to his ranch to do the work he needed. As you keep going up that block, you come to a small building, kind of yellow brick, that was the second Stockman's Bank. Stockman's Bank was started by stockmen, by ranchers, who thought that they needed a bank just for them, a bank that would understand the challenges that stockmen face, drought, bugs, whatever might delay their crop, influence their crop to where they needed a little more time to pay back a loan. And Stockman's outgrew that bank, and so they were going to build a bigger bank on the corner, which they did. But before you got to the corner, there was a hotel, and it was the Rodman Hotel, owned by Ike and Ike and his wife. And the guys who formed Stockman's Bank asked Ike if they could buy his hotel and tear it down to make way for Stockman's Bank on the corner. Ike was a barber. He had a barber shop in the front of his hotel. So he told the guys that, yes, he would sell them his hotel and they could tear it down on one condition, that they always have a barber shop in the front of the bank. So they tore the hotel down and they put up what is now First Interstate Bank. It started as Stockman's Bank. On the corner of 4th Street and Gillette Avenue is the K-Square building. It has a green awning over the front, and it used to be City Hall. From the 30s to the early 80s, that was where City Hall was. And it's pretty cool because it has jail cells in the bottom of it, in the basement. And boy, do the 3rd graders love those jail cells. They love the jail cells. And then probably the next fun one would be the George Amos Memorial Building. George Amos was a rancher on the Key Line Ranch, and he was a foreman. He went out on the cattle drives, and he would stay away for a long time, and he would take books with him to pass the time. So he was a real fan of reading, but Gillette did not have a library at that time. So when he passed, he left his money to his sister to build a library for Gillette and Campbell County. And that's the first library building that we had that was actually built as a library. The corner of 7th and Gillette Avenue is the Chassell House. And the Chassell House is pretty fun too. Harry Chassell used to live there, and he was a state senator. And the great thing about Harry was that he wrote the legislation to create Campbell County out of parts of Crook and Weston County. So beforehand, before his legislation, we were living in Crook County. And in fact, they have a sign in the front yard that says Chassell House. Excuse me, I think it's 1906 when that building was built. And Crook County, Magpie Designs, was our first city hall. And the front part of that building was built in the late 1890s. I believe it was 96. There is a jail behind it that was built in 1911. When it was City Hall, we didn't have all the buildings that we have now, and so it was also the morgue. The Historical Society has also contributed to putting a couple of buildings on the National Register of Historic Places. The first one was the old post office at 3rd and Gillette Avenue. That was the first one that we put on the National Register. And then the second one was the old City Hall, Case Word Technologies right now, at 4th and Gillette Avenue. The Campbell County Historical Society has tried to be involved in the development of Gillette Main Street. We partner with them on some different events.
Historic Downtown Gillette currently has some of the most unique and largest concentration of eateries, shops, and boutiques that create a memorable experience for the visitors and locals alike. You can find many activities for the whole family to enjoy, such as the Avenues of Art walking tour, which features over 100 sculptures scattered throughout Gillette. You can also book a tour of the Durham Bison Ranch, a working ranch just a short distance away, and a working open pit coal mine to learn more about the energy industry. Enjoy some of the local culture by visiting the Ava Community Arts Center. For the history enthusiasts, there are 2 museums located in downtown. The Rockpile Museum, which focuses on exhibits of fossils, Native American artifacts, and the culture of local and regional history. There's also the Frontier Auto Museum, a 13,000 square foot facility of classic cars, gas pumps, and auto memorabilia.
I'm Robert Henning. I'm the director at the Rockpile Museum in Gillette. I've been at the museum over 15 years and been the director for about 7 years. In recent years, we have worked hard to try to tell some of the history of the buildings downtown, some of the businesses, the business people. So our Main Street, Gillette Avenue, is really the beginning of the town. Where we're talking right now is the 100 block of Gillette Avenue. This is where the town began in 1891. So before the railroad got here, a subsidiary, the Lincoln Land and Livestock Company, set up a town. And they set up streets, divided the area into lots, and started selling the lots. And this was decided as the main commercial area. So even before the rails got here, you had buildings in this block being built up. So hotels, saloons, general merchandise stores, anything that the cowboys, the railroad workers, the ranchers needed at that time. Over time, Gillette Avenue extended to the south or up the hill. As the community grew, they needed more and more space for businesses, for housing, hotels, apartments later on. So everything kind of filled in from there and then filled east to west through the original town. Well, I would say Gillette Avenue is, for most of our history, the main center of the community. So if we're talking between 1891 and we'll say the 1970s, Gillette Avenue was the main business district. So you would come down here to do everything. Get your mail, go to the pharmacy, have a nice dinner out on the town, a hotel. The main hotel, the Goins Hotel across the street, was a main site to stay if you were traveling through town. So it really was the center of the community. And it was that oil boom, coal boom era that started to see different commercial areas built up. So Douglas Highway, shopping centers in different areas, different corners of the town. Out past the museum on 2nd Street, saw more businesses out there. So it kind of changed. And so I think you saw different types of businesses move in here, and then you saw people adapting to that growth over time. Till today, it's a little bit different yet. It may not be the main commercial area, but it is probably more of a fun kind of boutique area where you've got great shops, good restaurants, great coffee shops, bakeries, kind of that. It's almost a place again where you want to go and visit and you want to spend some time. So it's transitioned from, if you go all the way back, probably where you spend a lot of time, to again where you might want to spend a lot of time. So it's had an interesting history. So at the Rockpile Museum, we collect the history of Gillette, Campbell County, and the Powder River Basin. So that's a lot of history. One of the areas that we have a lot on is Gillette Avenue, the businesses down here, the people that own the buildings. But we're always collecting. We're always looking for more. Come to Gillette Avenue, check out the history, walk up and down the street, visit the shops, go into the shops, ask them about their building. Ask the owners, the business people, is this building historic? And you'll find out a ton of information.
We wrap up this episode of Explore 17 and want to let you know about a great way to explore downtown yourself by using the Walking History app. Immerse yourself in many of these historical stories while enjoying a stroll through downtown and the many amenities it offers. You can also learn more about the Gillette downtown by visiting the Gillette Visitor Center located at 314 South Gillette Avenue. Thank you for joining us this episode of Explore 17.